Arm yourselves, America. This is Defenders Live on Mojo 50 Radio. You can listen to us anywhere where you like to listen to your podcast, but if you'd like to listen to us live, we are here, right now on Mojo 50. It's 9 p.m. on your radio dial. You can find us on iHeartRadio. Go to the Mojo 50 Radio app. It is right there in the iHeartRadio app. Go to the Mojo 50 Radio button. Sorry, not the app, the button. In there, you can find us there, or you can go to the Facebook page at Mojo 50 Radio on Facebook. We're live. We've got video. You can do the YouTubes as well. And if you'd like to communicate with us, you can do that there through the chat room on the Facebook page or over on the MeWe chat room. We are everywhere on that. Or you can also go to the Twitters if you want to, at Steven Airey or at DOAE Show. I am there. It is here. We are having a great time. By the way, my voice is a little bit weird. I'm sorry about that. Have a little bit of a scratchy throat. It's a problem. Working through it. It's a work in progress. But first and foremost, before we get started with everything and all the fun and all the business side of all this junk, we have Airey Capital Management. Airey Capital Management, LLC. Retirement planning is not something to overlook. You need to act now. Contact Airey Capital Management today. They can help you they can help you put an investment plan in place using their in-house portfolio management process. You see, it's your life, your era. Invest in it. Airey Capital Management LLC is a registered investment advisor. Investing in all securities involves the risk of loss. Visit aireycapitalmanagement.com or call them at 509-559-6229. It's aireycapitalmanagement.com or 509-559-6229. Well, hello to you too, Nicole. Glad to see you. Glad you're here with us. Okay, let's get to it, shall we? So, obviously, Michael Cohen has been on the fast track of what's been on and what's been real, and it's been real fun and all that other jazz. But apparently, Michael Cohen has been making the rounds because he's getting made fun of a little bit, and I want to show you this. It's from the Times website, but bear with me.
I want to tell you about the real Donald Trump.
He's really, he's a unifier.
The words the media should be using to describe Mr. Trump are generous.
He's going to do everything that he promised. He's going to bring success and he's going to make America great.
Compassionate, principled.
Donald Trump speaks from the heart.
Empathetic, kind.
He's going to stay true to who he is. He's going to be an amazing president.
Humble, honest, and genuine.
Mr. Trump's memory is fantastic, and I've never come across a situation where Mr. Trump has said something that's not accurate. All Donald Trump wants to do is make this country great again.
Oh my goodness. I tell you what, that is amazing stuff. Wow. Oh, so much fun transitioning back and forth between screens. Okay, so that's a little bit of Michael Cohen, and everybody knows that Michael Cohen is a salacious liar. He's a salacious liar. I don't really know all that he said in while in the hearings, because I don't care. The man lies like Mufasa, and that's about it. He's lying like Mufasa. You can't get any more lioness than that. So whether it's praising Trump or talking trash about Trump, I don't find him, how would you say it? What's the word? It's right on the tip of my tongue. I can't really put my finger on it. Viable. I don't find him viable. I don't find him reasonable. He's not a good person. And as far as lawyers go, he's a terrible lawyer, because he literally just flipped on one of his clients for basically nothing. That to me, that's not so great. not so great, and it's gonna come back to bite him in the arse. Kevin Hutchison, did Michael Cohen ever explain why he tapes his own clients? He's only done it 100 times. No, I don't think he did, and I don't think he's going to. But if he does, it's going to be something very similar to, well, I did it just for my own protections and stuff. And then he's going to flip on that like another 2 hours later. It's not a... It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. It's all impeachment crap. It's all stupidity. It's all horrendous. And I'll tell you what, it goes into this next story right here, because apparently Donald Trump and his administration is trying to make moves to decriminalize homosexuality across the world. Now, to your liberal left friends, that should sound like a really good idea. It should sound like a great idea. It should be some of the best things that they thought possible. What are you doing? Trump is saying, hey, let's decriminalize homosexuality across the world. Let's make sure that people don't die or get put into jail just because they're homosexual. You know what? I agree. Let's do that. That sounds like a great idea. Well, you know who doesn't agree? The quilt bag groups. That's right. All of the quilt bag LGBTQIP Elemento 3 Two-Spirit, they're in a separate category anyway, groups are condemning the Trump administration because, quote, we have a lot of questions about their intentions. See, the Trump derangement syndrome has gone far into overdrive now, guys. It's detractors of Trump and people of that notion, they do nothing but try and benefit from the idea that you have to hate Trump. You have to hate Trump. Now, I don't necessarily like Trump, but when it comes to this sort of thing, I don't see why we can't make fun of him. You see, they say in a quote, Donald Trump and Mike Pence have turned a blind eye to a campaign of violence and murder targeting LGBT people in Chechnya that has stretched on for 2 years. That's said by the Jeremy Caden, senior international policy advocate for the Human Rights Campaign. That's right, Nicole. They shouldn't be arrested. They shouldn't be killed. They shouldn't be burned, beheaded, drowned, thrown off buildings. None of those things, just for being gay. He also said, quote, they turned away the LGBT people fleeing violence and persecution, then sent them back to their countries that criminalized them, and have consistently worked to undermine the fundamental equality of LGBTQ people and our families here at home from day one. No, he hasn't. He's actually been the most pro-gay president overall, like from the get-go. It's like, hey, you guys are gay. Cool for you. Yeah, I know, Backyard Cows. What? The LGBT Elemental PQRS community is condemning Trump? Say it ain't so. It is so. It is so. And they're doing it for no reason. No reason whatsoever. See, they've gone out because they've been pushing this issue and pushing this issue for the past couple of years that Trump is trying to kill all the gays. That's their prerogative. That's their misunderstanding. Like the guy who came out and said, "Oh yeah, the gays. I love the gays." That guy nonchalantly just kind of pass it off on the breeze. "Oh yeah, those guys. Yeah, they're cool. They're all right. I like them. Sure, whatever." And these people have been consistent over time with their hatred toward this singular person for literally no reason. Literally no reason. He's done absolutely nothing to hurt the gay community himself. Not that I've seen anyway. I don't know what you guys have seen, but not that I have seen. And so in that context, in that understanding, to see a group of people go so overboard, so over the edge when it comes to this sort of stupidity and fighting and biting back when nothing's really happened except for the president has come out and said, hey, we need to get rid of this crap, See, the Trump administration pushed to decriminalize homosexuality following the case of a 31-year-old Iranian man who was hanged by authorities for his homosexual activities. He's, quote, "The United States continues to work to protect and defend human rights for all. The government has obligations to ensure that all people can freely enjoy the universal human rights and fundamental freedoms to which they are entitled," a State Department spokesman told Fox News this week. Quote, "We're working to advance longstanding U.S. policies around human rights is the kind of work our ambassadors do all around the world every single day." If you take that, and then you go to this, and then you go to this, fear and bigotry are enshrined in law that criminalize LGBTI statutes or conduct in more than 70 countries. This is from Pompeo. Quote, "In some, being LGBTQI quilt bag, in some, being a quilt bag is punishable by death, and we use public and private diplomacy to raise human rights concerns, provide emergency assistance to people at risk, and impose visa restrictions and economic sanctions against those who persecute the quilt bag people." You have it right there, black and white. Mike Pompeo coming out from the State Department saying, look, we are doing everything in our power to hurt those people that are in power that are criminalizing the quiltback community. We want you guys to know that we are trying our damnedest across the world to make sure that you aren't being killed just because of your sexual orientation. Because you have a freedom to that. You have a right to claim that. That's your ability. That's your right. That's your freedom. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it's your freedom. But you know one thing that is your right? Your right to bear arms. And one of the best ways you can do, one of the best things you can do to celebrate that right is go to traguns.com. traguns.com, tell them Steven over at Mojo50 sent you. TRA Guns, Tar River Arms, is making it easier and more comfortable than ever to purchase your firearms online. See, they're modernizing the online firearm sales to accommodate the online generation, and those who prefer brick and mortar experiences, that's okay. You see, through their 3D interactive experiences that they have on their site, you can inspect your gun before you purchase. They have weekly specials. They eliminate the shipping and brokerage fees. And they have great guns, guys, at great prices and a great service. Veteran owned and operated. Kurt is a wonderful person. He even has a cell phone number directly there on the site, ready for you to make that call when you need help. They have layaway and consignment options available today. Go check them out, traguns.com. traguns.com. Tell them Steven over Mojo50 sent you. Speaking of amendments and rights and perceived notions, did you know that Americans know literally nothing about the Constitution nowadays? From CNN, a new poll from the University of Pennsylvania, Annenberg Public Policy Center reveals how shockingly little people know about the most basic elements of our government and the Constitution that formed it. Take your pick from the bouillabaisse of ignorance. Quote, here we go. More than 1 in 3 people, 37%, could not name a single right protected by the First Amendment. Only 1 in 4 can name the 3 branches of government. That's down from 2011, where it was 38%, by the way. 1 in 3 can't name any branches of the government at all. They have no idea what they are. And a majority believe that the Constitution affords undocumented immigrants no rights at all. However, everyone in the U.S. is entitled to due process of law and the right to make their case before the courts, at least. This is a quote. Protecting the rights guaranteed by the Constitution presupposes that we know what they are. This is from Edinburgh's director, Kathleen Hall Jameson. The fact that many don't is worrisome. You don't say. No, it's not worrisome at all. I mean, come on. That's right, Kevin. On the website, you can even smell the gunpowder using the Apple's new Sniff Me app. Yeah. Hashtag Sniff Me. That's the new app. Hashtag Sniff Me. If you guys are out there, use that. Hashtag Sniff Me app. Sadly, the Edinburgh poll is far from the first to reveal not only our collective ignorance about the basic tenets of democracy, but also the fact that we are even less informed than we were in the past. No, duh. No, duh. Every generation that passes, this is a problem with education. Every generation that passes, you're going to see a dramatic decrease in the amount of knowledge and available presence about our government. Why? Because they don't want to teach it. I didn't learn it in high school. I didn't learn it in middle school. I didn't learn it in elementary school. Sure, we had a U.S. history course for one semester, but did it actually teach us anything? No. No, it did not. It taught us a bunch of lies and a bunch of folklore about the American past, but it didn't actually teach us anything about what actually happened, the documentation that was there. It didn't teach us anything that was going on about why the Electoral College was founded, why we have the Constitution in the first place, what the heck was everything, what was causing all of the strife and the problems, because they teach only the economic side. They don't want to teach the policy side. They don't want to teach the rest of the crap. Yes, Doc Thompson got run over by an Amtrak. At DOAE show 3 branches. I thought we had 3 chambers. Yes, we have 3 chambers of Congress. Yes, that's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for you. We have 3 chambers of Congress. But I digress. See, it's just it's the worst thing out there. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations where you look at it and you're like, well, crap. How can we protect the constitutional rights of our fellow citizens if our fellow citizens don't even know the rights that they hold? You can't. You don't know what you're giving away if you don't know what you have to begin with. So the common denominator here is education. Education is the issue. And the fact that you have people that come over here from every other country and they have to pass a citizenry test, and that citizenry test tells them literally all the crap that you and I are supposed to know know and learn over the course of, 12 years in school, but we're not taught it anymore. That is the blind leading the blind. It's not willful ignorance there, Jeremy. It's not willful ignorance. It's you were never taught. You were spoon-fed a bunch of crap, and you were never actually taught the reality of the situation, what you have, the rights that you have, the responsibilities that you have as a citizen. You don't know that because you were never taught that. You were never taught that because they didn't want you to know that, because they want, eventually, to be able to take all of it away from you. And the best way to do that is to make sure that you are blindly stupid, running around talking about your LGBT rights and your rights to turn yourself into a girl if you're a boy, or a boy if you're a girl, and to have as many abortions as you want because it's your body and your rights. They don't want you to know about your founding and the reality of the Constitution and the fact that it was based on sermons, based on an understanding from the pulpit. Why do you think they're getting away from homeschooling as much as they are? Why do you think they're trying to regulate homeschool as much as they are? You know, we have a story I'm going to talk about tomorrow. Just kind of bring it up a little bit, but one of the states in our country is now gathering together with vaccination companies and the police. They're joining them together inside of the inside of their state's educational system to go and do wellness checks on the homeschooled children once a quarter. You want to talk about control? You want to talk about losing your rights? How do you lose them if you don't know what they are? If you never knew you had those rights, how can you lose them in the first place? This is something we need to fix, folks. This is an idea and a problem that we have to correct. I'm not going to be able to do it on my own. This is a conversation that we need to evangelize. Not as much as we need to evangelize Christ, but if you want America to succeed, well, I'm sorry to tell you, Erica, but in a certain state, wellness checks may be legal very, very soon. I'll be talking about that tomorrow. I'm looking over the bill today and tomorrow and everything else, and I'm going to read it and make sure I'm understanding what it is. But all of us need your help. Yeah, I'm sitting behind a microphone, but my voice is limited to the people I can reach. To the people that we, quote, touch on a daily basis. Your voice is limited to that. So I need your help. When we talk about these things, when we go over our rights and our responsibilities, you need to be willing to evangelize a little bit. Or maybe just share what we're talking about. I don't care. Take my video and cut it up and send it in little snippets. If you ask me, I'll do it for you. I can't have a Matlock voice. Actually, the only time I can have something even close to a Matlock voice is when I have almost no voice at all, because then I have to yell for you guys to hear me, and that's always terrible. Nobody likes that. It sounds all screechy and weird, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Look. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. Jeremy. But you have that, and then you have this. Something to feel happy about. Miss Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is finally getting a little taste of the FEC as a complaint has been filed against her for laundering money to her boyfriend over all the money that she's been passing along through the family, as it were. See, the Coolidge-Reagan Foundation filed a complaint with the FEC on Wednesday, alleging that the socialist representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez may have illegally funneled money to her boyfriend through the Allied PAC. Fox News reports that the group alleges in their complaint, quote, that when brand new Congress PAC BNC, a political arm of the Brand New Congress LLC and a company that was hired by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to run and support her campaign, paid Roberts for making services it potentially ran afoul of campaign finance law. No duh. Just saying. No duh. All right. With that sound, we will be right back after this. All right. Commercial break time. Yay! Commercial break time. Kevin Hutchison, let's face it. We've already lost the culture war. Remember those Quint days? 30 years ago when Terry... No, I don't remember because I wasn't alive. Well, I was 2 years old. They fought to get like Baywatch off the air. Now small children watch hardcore porn on their iPhones. I don't know about watching hardcore porn, but they do watch Momo. They do watch Momo. Inadvertently, apparently. Doc Thompson got run over by an Amtrak at DOA show. With the advancement that we have in technology and received any information that we would so desire, it is sad that so many people do not know their own rights, even though they can discover that on their own. Yeah, it is. It is. That is very true. You're getting a retweet on that one. Boom. There we go. USCA, United States Code Law, annotated. Yep. Strip the entire USCA and go to the go by the Constitution. Well, that would be a good idea. See, it would be a good idea to strip most of the USCA and go strictly by the letter of the law in the Constitution on most things. On most things, there are some things that you needed a little bit more understanding on, but most things, I would agree with you on that. There, Donna. Salient point over there at the Twitters. You have Doc Thompson got run over by an Amtrak at DOA show. With the advancement that we have in technology and receiving any information that we would so desire, it is sad that so many people do not know their own rights, even though they can they can discover that on their own. That is very true. That is very true, and it is very sad. Got you some retweets on that because it's definitely right on there. Matt Locke in Spanish. Mira. Dutch. Kiesken. French. Regardes. German. Assen. English. Look. Yeah, I like that one. Let's be frank at PA. You're right on the money with that. Right on the money indeed. Look. So 2 Marines are under investigation for allegedly posting blackface videos on social media. 2 Marines based in California are under investigation today because they appeared in a video supposedly in blackface, but they weren't. They were in those charcoal freaking hair removal masks. They were in the charcoal hair removal masks that you put on your face and then pull all the hair off your face or whatever else you do. The waxing stuff. It's the charcoal wax stuff that hurts like crazy when you put it on. But here's what the Marines said. The 3rd Marines aircraft wing issued this statement. We are aware of the post. An investigation has been initiated to determine the facts and the circumstances around the content. Our leaders are committed to maintaining an environment of professionalism, dignity, and respect. 3rd MAW, that's the Marine Aircraft Wing, takes all allegations of discriminatory behavior very seriously as they stand in stark contrast of our core values of honor, courage, and commitment to do not reflect the discipline of and professionalism of the Marines, sailors of the 3rd MAW. It would be inappropriate to comment any further on an ongoing investigation. Basically, it's a bunch of crap over nothing. A bunch of crap over nothing. 2 Marines standing there. They posted a post of them, and it looks like they've got the charcoal face renewal masks that you put on your face. They don't look like they're trying to do blackface. They look like they're trying to remove all of the excess hair and dead skin cells and blackheads from their pores. It's just trying to clean their pores out. Can a man not clean out his pores without being called into question for blackface? Can a man not be called into question for blackface for cleaning out his pores? That's the question. That is the question I have to ask. Is a man not allowed to unclog his pores? I just got to know. Can he not have his pores cleaned? And in so doing, can he not also have his pipes cleaned? Cabin Boy reference for any of those out there who have seen that movie. That's a Cabin Boy reference. Now, I have a story here. I want you guys to give it your full attention, okay? This is a little audio for you. I have put it to music for your enjoyment, and it is a very sad story. It is not sarcastic, but it is being read by our very own Susan Knowles. Susan took up this after I asked her to. So please take a listen, and we'll talk about it afterwards.
My daughter at age 14 spontaneously decided that she is actually a male. After suffering multiple traumatic events in her life and spending a large amount of time on the internet, she announced that she was trans. Her personality changed almost overnight, and she went from being a sweet, loving girl to a foul-mouthed, hateful, pansexual male. At first I thought she was just going through a phase, but the more I tried to reason with her, the more she dug her heels in. Around this time, she was diagnosed with ADHD, depression, and anxiety. But mental health professionals seemed mainly interested in helping me process her new identity as a male and convincing me to accept the notion that my daughter is actually my son. At age 16, my daughter ran away and reported to the Department of Child Services that she felt unsafe living with me because I refused to refer to her using male pronouns or her chosen male name. Although the department investigated and found she was well cared for, they forced me to meet with a trans-identified person to educate me on these issues. Soon after, without my knowledge, a pediatric endocrinologist taught my daughter, a minor, to inject herself with testosterone. My daughter then ran away to Oregon, where state law allowed her at the age of 17, without my knowledge or consent, to change her name and legal gender in court and to undergo a double mastectomy and a radical hysterectomy. My once beautiful daughter is now 19 years old, homeless, bearded, in extreme poverty, sterilized, not receiving mental health services, extremely mentally ill, and planning a radial forearm phalloplasty, a surgical condition that removes part of her arm to construct a fake penis. The level of heartbreak and rage I'm experiencing as a mother is indescribable. Why does Oregon law allow children to make life-altering medical decisions? As a society, we are rightly outraged about female circumcision. Why are doctors who took an oath to first do no harm allowed to sterilize and surgically mutilate mentally ill, delusional children?
Why is Oregon allowed to do that? Why is the biggest question that we all have. This is a real story. This is a story that was shared on a website with a whole bunch of other stories. Beautiful, wonderful, fun-loving daughter gets confused, gets angry, obsessive, violent, and then she suddenly decides that she's going to become a man. She doesn't seem to have any issues or thought processes prior to. But then with the help of child services and everything else, this one child is able to not only inject herself with testosterone and other genetic enhancing drugs, but through public assistance, get a double mastectomy, turn the innie into an outie, the entire process. In a matter of 3 years, a girl changed her outer form to look like a guy. She still has mental issues. She's homeless. And she has a lot of problems. I feel horrible for this kid, and I feel horrible for the parents that deal with this. I don't exactly know how I would deal with it. It's not hate, Nicole. It's concern. Because just like a lot of other things and trends that are happening, this has become something that this is the slippery slope. This is that idea that continually gets pushed further and further and further down the line. Until one day, there is no line anymore. Until one day, there is no area that you can say is sacred or holy. There is no technology out there that takes a man and makes him a woman, or takes a woman and makes her a man. All it does is change their outer features and their emotions and their chemical balance inside of their body. It screws up their system. Most of the time, it actually makes them worse off. The suicide rate actually increases after transition, because it's a realization that you're trying to get your body and brain together as one, and you've decided that it's too hard to change your mind, so you'd rather take the more expensive yet seemingly easier route and change your body. It is much easier to change your mind than to go through the financial and physical hardship that these people are putting themselves through. They need help. But they don't need somebody pushing gender-changing drugs on them. Reassignment surgeries on them. That's not what they need. What they need is somebody by their side. What they need is somebody sitting there with them, helping them through the thought processes in their mind, why it's happening, how it's happening, and how they can get through it on their own and be comfortable in their skin as they are. That's right. The problem is not between their legs. It is between their ears. That is correct, Donna. And we knew that as a society 15 years ago. But we did the wrong thing. We did the wrong thing. We treated it like it was something to be shunned and torn away from and hidden and make it secret and, everything else. But no. It needs to be something that is talked about. It needs to be something that can be put out in the open and say, hey, look, I need help. Just like our veterans and their depression and their suicides and their PTSDs. That needs to be out in the open. Because in a generation, you're going to see more death by suicide because of that, or at least it's going to tie that of our veterans coming home if we don't do something as soon as we possibly can. Now let me tell you about Patriot Mobile. See, here's the truth. Your cell phone company, it's probably funding liberal gun grabbers. Patriot Mobile is America's only conservative cell phone company. It's doing the exact opposite. If you're fed up with disgusting policies like the New York abortion law, like Bloomberg's gun control plan, and the stalemate at the border policies, just make the simple switch to Patriot Mobile. Join thousands of Americans using Patriot Mobile and get reliable, nationwide coverage and watch your hard-earned money fight for your First and Second Amendment rights, border security, and the sanctity of life. Patriot Mobile is veteran-led, and they donate a portion of every bill to conservative causes like the Heritage Foundation, the NRA, and the Susan B. Anthony List, and so much more. Plans start as low as $20 a month for the unlimited talk and text. And if you need more motivation, just mention the promo code DOC, D-O-C, when you call them at 1-800-A-PATRIOT, or visit them online at patriotmobile.com/doc, and you can get up to 2 activation fees waived right now. Enough is enough. Join the fight today. patriotmobile.com. So, I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if you know this, but elections have consequences. Elections have consequences. Why do I say that? Because the House bill has just passed the U.S. Congress. House Resolution 8, dubbed the Bipartisan Background Checks Act of 2019, passed the entire U.S. Senate, the entire U.S. House of Representatives. The measure, which seeks to implement what gun control partisans on the left often refer to as universal background checks, would expand background checks for firearm sales to also include private firearm transfers. There would have to be some minor dispensations, including firearm transfers among close relatives and loaning a firearm to be used by a gun owner's friend or relative while at the shooting range. The bill had previously advanced out of the House Judiciary Committee by 25 to 13 margin, and the House passed. The full House passed the bill by a 240 to 190 margin. So why do I bring this up? I bring this up because when you look at these things, universal background checks have never been anything that's been very good. It's going to put a hampering on your Second Amendment rights. It's going to stop you from being able to do what you want to do at all point in times. There should be no major laws hampering you from your right to bear arms. The one thing that I would say is there should be education. You should have we all have the right to bear arms, but we all have a responsibility to make sure that we understand what comes with that right, what the responsibilities are for having those firearms. I would go as far as to say that there should be a regulation class in through our elementary school processes, through our primary school years, either in middle or high school, that you go through. Just like there should be an accounting class that you go through and learn how to, balance your budgets and plan your bills. There should be a class on firearms. It shouldn't be an elective. It should be a class. You should go there, learn what one is, see them in person. Obviously, they cannot have bullets in the guns in a classroom, but you'd be able to see one. You'd be able to hold it. You'd be able to inspect it, clean it, do all the rest. Learn how to be responsible with a gun. Learn how to hold a gun. Learn how to aim it. Learn how to not put your finger on the trigger unless you mean to shoot. That way you don't screw up and accidentally hurt somebody. Learn to never point it at people. Learn to never point it at anything you don't mean to shoot or kill. Those should be a class. And if it's not a class, it should be something that you are taught as a child. I had a pellet rifle and a little BB gun as a kid. You know, you learned the basics. I got to learn the basics of holding a gun and everything else. My father was nice enough to do that for me, even though he didn't really like having guns in the house, but he thought a pellet rifle or a BB gun, that's okay. It's not too dangerous. It's safe enough for a kid to hold. Okay. And he waited until a certain age. I was old enough and supposedly responsible enough to be able to do it. And he taught me the basics behind it. That needs to happen. That's right. Safety first. It needs to happen. You have to know the safety of this. You have to know the responsibility of this. You have to be schooled in your rights and in your responsibilities. Because every right that we have as a free citizenry comes with a load of responsibilities behind it to make sure that it stays a right. And like we were talking about earlier, basically only 25% of our populace in America right now knows barely anything about our Constitution and our constitutional rights. We need to change that. We need to change that as soon as possible. Doc Thompson got run over by an Amtrak. Remember the airsoft training AR-15 SHOT Show? That would be a great training class for school kids. Yeah, the airsoft guns are great. They came out when I was in high school, and I really wanted to buy them, but I never did, mainly because I decided that I didn't want to spend my money on plastic pellet guns. But they could be very good training tools in schools and other things. AR-15s, nice. That'd be good. That'd be all right. In conjunction with our Second Amendment rights, did you know that if you listening to Jeremy Hansen earlier today, you do know this. MS-13 gang members have put out a hit on all off-duty cops in the NYPD. See, a memo was circulated through the New York Police Department 105th Precinct, warning officers that members of the deadly MS-13 gangs were, quote, looking to hit Long Island officers, especially those off duty. Intel has been obtained from members of the MS-13 gang, and they're looking to hit police officers specifically in the Brentwood and the Central Islip area. I think that's how it's pronounced. As well as possible other areas in order to gain street cred. So instead of going and shooting up hapless folks, they're now getting street cred from going through and killing cops. Becoming a cop killer is now the big thing with the MS-13 gang. See, quote, whenever a law enforcement officer is being threatened, especially by an organization like MS-13, which we already know is uber violent. This isn't a quote, guys. Uber violent. And has killed numerous people throughout the country, if not throughout the world. This has to be taken seriously. That from a former FBI agent, Manny Gomez. Quote, they're going above and beyond what any other gang does, and it's scary. The scary part is that we already know that they legitimately carry out most of their threats, and they are extremely violent. Yeah. They are extremely violent. They do carry out most of their threats, and most of them are illegal. So why are they here in the first place? This is where ICE needs to come into play. I'm sorry. MS-13 is a gang mainly made up of individuals who are illegal or relatives of illegals or friends of illegals joining gangs, deciding that they're going to set up shop in our country, kill our cops, our citizenry, and do it all in the name of themselves. For nothing else. for the lulz, for the jollies. Why haven't they been dealt with? Why have they not been taken care of? That's not for me to say, I guess. Because MS-13 is made up of people who aren't supposed to be here. And the fact that they do such high-level attack and that their threats are generally met with action should put a target on their heads. And yet, still, they're here. And yet, still, they continue on. Switching over completely. Is this really equality? See, a male NCAA track star has decided to switch to female during its senior year. And guess what? They won. The NCAA track star, Cece Telfer, is cleaning up in the women's track, breaking records and racking up points in the Franklin Pierce University. Telfer, notably, is a biological male who now identifies as a female. Last year, Cece, then going by his birth name, Craig, was a top athlete in the men's division. A top athlete, that means it was in the top 5. He just wanted to be first. Telfer is headed to the NCAA Championship March 8th and 9th. Reports, this is from reports from a website from the Franklin Pierce Athletics. Quote, Telfer has qualified in a pair of events, and he will compete in the 200-meter dash and the 600-meter hurdles. Noting that Telfer has the fastest times of the year in the 200-meter dash at 24.08 seconds, which was set at a Northeast conference earlier in the month. His fastest time was in the 60-meter hurdles was 8.33 seconds, which came in December. And at the University of Massachusetts Boston Indoor Open, of all places, he ranked 3rd in the country in the hurdles and 7th in the meter dash. So catch that again. He was probably in the top 10 in the males division. And he's still only in the top 10 in the females division. Ranked 3rd and 7th. Senior in college, 21-year-old, cleaned up last Sunday at Smith College, taking three Northeast 10 conference titles and scoring 31.5 of the school's 49.5 points. The school finished 6th, which was the highest that they'd ever scored in their program ever. Telfer is one of the fastest runners in the NCAA's women's track and field at any division. Not just the D2 level, any division. He could run in the women's D1 division, and it wouldn't be a problem. Well, duh, because it's a man. Craig Telfer decided to go chic, to win himself some titles before he got out of college. There's something wrong in your head when you have to change genders just to compete. There's something wrong in your head. Time goes by so fast. That music right there means that it's time to go. So, as always, folks, good night, Todd Thompson. I know where you are. Now, you all go home.